Thanks for joining me for this edition of the Church Security Answer Man. They are still have an active scene going at the Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. This is Joel Osteen's church. You're probably familiar with him. Whether you like him or you don't like him, at this point, doesn't matter because they have had a tragic shooting at their church. You look at this craziness here. Just imagine that huge church having to be evacuated after a shooting, the chaos inside. Let's talk about those details right now. There's the facts as we know. First thing, about 1:53, I'm told this was just a few minutes before their next service was set to begin. And what basically happens is a 35-year-old female, somewhere in there, she enters the west side of the building from the parking lot, and she is armed with a long rifle, and she has a child with her. And this child is 4 to 5 years old is the estimate. And I've kind of lost track of what happened to that child, but I believe the child's okay in CPS custody now. She is wearing a long trench coat, carrying a backpack. And she begins to this violence, and she basically covers several bases, unfortunately, in this situation. And one of the first things we have her doing is she's reported to be spraying some sort of substance on the ground as she's walking around and beginning her assault on the church. She's threatened also that she's got a bomb. She has made that quite clear to people around her as she's beginning her violence. So we have 2 or 3 different scenarios going on here now from this one female. She begins shooting inside the church in a hallway area, their entrance hallway area, and apparently quite a few people around in there, that area. She strikes a 5-year-old child with the gunfire. That child is in critical condition, and she strikes a 57-year-old male. And he apparently is not in as bad a shape. She was shot and killed by 2 off-duty law enforcement officers. One's a TABC agent, as I understand it, and the other one's a off-duty Houston police officer. They're basically, these officers are pulling side duty. They're getting paid to be at the church and be patrolling. So like many of us have talked about. And so what a tragic situation here. It's going to get a little bit more coverage because it's at a very famous pastor's church, somebody that gets a lot of press and a lot of coverage. But look at the facts of this situation as we talk about it. I mean, the facts are crazy. She covers lots of bases here. As this female enters, she's spraying a substance. She's threatening. She has a bomb. She's concealed. She's got a long trench coat on. Besides the fact that she's carrying a rifle, she's got a backpack. She says she has a bomb. So this ends up being quite the mess just suddenly coming into this church. And so basically, as I understand the facts, and they're still coming in, we'll give you an update here in just a bit. But apparently then they had to search her backpack after they shot and killed her. They searched her backpack for a bomb, no bomb found. They went out and found her car, searched her car, no bomb found in the car. I think they're still trying to figure out what the substance is that she was spraying on the ground. But what a mess, and presenting several scenarios. I mean, what would you do in this situation if you're dealing with somebody carrying a backpack, wearing a long trench coat, spraying a substance on the ground, threatening they have a bomb, and they have a gun? I mean, we're talking 5 scenarios there, and to make sense of that at the moment, I just point that out because that's what we do all the time, is talk about this kind of stuff and what would you do if this happened. And this is the kind of craziness we can be facing these days, is multiple scenarios coming at us. So what would you do in those situations? How are you going to handle that? Fortunately, there were off-duty police officers on scene, and you can look at the pictures, you can look at the video online, and it is nothing but craziness. Hundreds of emergency services, criminal justice, law enforcement folks swarmed the area when this report came out. They were having to close the freeway down that's right in front of the church because of so many responders, and just a chaotic situation. Fortunately, these two officers, I mean, I'm certain they'll be hailed heroes in the near future because they were able to contain this situation very quickly. So they were no doubt on their posts, paying attention to what was going on, and responded to this incident very quickly and took the suspect out. Very odd that it's a female shooter. We don't see very many of these at all. And I cannot remember one where the female brought a child to the shooting. And that's what I'm understanding. These are preliminary reports, but they're saying that she brought a child with her. There was a child in tow with her, accompanying her. And so, but boy, just to have a female, I mean, we're talking in many years, this recent 50-year study, I think there were 6 female shooters in that 50-year study of active shooting incidents. There were 6 females. And here we have a female that comes in threatening several things. She's covering several bases, and just a crazy situation. And so, I'm still challenging you. How would you handle this situation when you're dealing with these different things? And I want to challenge you to begin to think about it. It's Sunday now. We'll have plenty of time to think about this, what we would do before we get into next week. And there'll be no doubt more details that come out. And we'll be looking to share those things with you as we hear about them as well. So thanks for joining me for this edition. And, there's always links for training in the description here. Not really an important thing to talk about now, but I want to challenge you to be thinking about things. And we have materials to help challenge you, give you briefing, trainings, all of those kind of things down in the description. If you're trying to figure out a direction, what do you do with this information? And it's really about start talking about it with your team. That's the important thing. Make plans, use these what ifs. What if this happened at my church? And that's how we can constructively deal with these details as they continue to come out. What would we do at our church? And if you're a church leader, I hope you're looking at this. I hope you have a security team already, and I hope you'll go to them and challenge them. What would they do if these 4 or 5 different types of scenarios were to happen all at once? Or in different situations? It's rare to see so many things come against the church at once from one person. So how would we deal with that if that happened in these individual situations? How would we deal with those? If you're a church leader, I hope you're challenging your people. If you're a church security team member, I hope that you're challenging and talking with your team this week on what should we do. And by next Sunday, you're having some discussions about that. If you're a member of a church, how do you stay safe? And I'm hoping that you have a security team. Like, doesn't have to be as great as off-duty officers that were hired, like in this situation at Pastor Olstein's church. But do you have a security plan at your church? And you should be asking your leadership those questions these days, because if they're not providing that, we should be asking them why they're not providing this, and asking them respectfully, when are we going to get some kind of church security plan or team going at our church? So good time for having discussions. That's what we can do with this stressful energy that we might feel right now, no matter what your position is within the church, or if you're on the security team. Let's have discussions. Let's seek out some training for this, or some discussions about it. And then I hope you will connect with us, like and subscribe to our channel. And I really want to get you subscribed so that we can connect and have discussions. Leave me a message down in the comments section so that I can interact with you and see what you're thinking about this situation. And tell me about how you have security or don't have security at your church, or what that level is. Without telling me what your church is or where your church is, let's have a conversation about how things are going for your team or your church. Thanks again for joining me for this breaking news.